What's up, everyone? It's the Ant-Man channel. You're here, and it is Friday, the 13th of February, 2015. So welcome and thank you for joining me today. I have an article in front of me from ChristianPost.com under the column Politics by Nap Nasworth. This is a Christian Post reporter. This was written on the 9th, so sometimes I just bookmark these things and I just say, hey, maybe I'll get around to reporting on this because sometimes I see interesting topics and I know that I can weigh in on these things. This topic has to do with politics, like I said earlier. So conservatives outnumber liberals in 47 states, including California, New York, and Gallup finds. Hey, I'm a conservative. I think if you're a Christian, you're by default Republican conservative. But then again, there's no paradigm. You know what I mean? Like the whole Democrat Republican paradigm it's a fraud because they want you to play these games so that you never really understand how the political system works. They just want you to choose a lesser of two evils instead of actually going to your local city hall or talking to your representatives about these things. They just try to keep you in front of the TV and not really active in politics. But politics is ugly business, and even our founding fathers said it's not up to us to try to force people to be into politics. I'm not saying that at all. I like to be a statesman. I like to know what this country's all about and stuff like that. But if people don't want to do that for themselves, we don't have any. We don't enforce that on anybody, even though it's so important. But we should encourage people to be more interested in politics because the things that go on in the state and local level do affect us. And we have a thing called progressivism in our days where people at the top believe that us middle class and lower level people are too stupid to govern for themselves. And I have to say, I object to that. I believe in the founding principles of the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence. I believe that I am intelligent enough to take care of myself, and I don't need anybody telling me what right and wrong is. I can figure that stuff out for myself, because look, I got the Bible. Until they want to ban this, like in North Korea, then you should be a free person. You live in a country where you have that ability. So anyway, conservatives outnumber liberals in 47 out of 50 states, according to Gallup polling released Friday. Doesn't matter, though, because whatever we want, like probably ban abortion, not let homosexuals get married, doesn't matter what we believe. It doesn't matter what we want. It only matters what the liberal agenda is that, it goes along with whatever the elite interests are. Because this isn't your mom and dad's America no more. It doesn't work like that anymore. It doesn't matter what you want. It matters for the social expediency. The progressives say it's for the social expediency. And we do it's for the good of the people. Yeah, but you can't just throw morality out of the door. And morality is a big deal. It has to do with our, protecting ourselves from certain things. So when respondents were asked to identify whether they were conservative, moderate, or liberal, liberals outnumbered conservatives in only 3 states. In order from most liberal, they were Massachusetts, Vermont, and Hawaii. If it were a state, the District of Columbia would have been the most liberal. There is a Gallup map here, and you see all the red and blue states and all of the average, probably, they're pretty tied more liberal than conservatives. Are the dark blue. I'll put the link up so you can see this map. A lot of red states and a lot of blue states. I live in Palmdale, which is a below average conservative place. California is a place where there are a lot of liberals. It's true. I am in the hotbed of postmodernism. A lot of people don't know what absolute truth is. There's people that think that it's subject to opinion and it changes over time, and it's not true. Claiming that there's no absolute truth, like some people do these days, is a contradiction. It's an unintelligible statement. But then again, people are kind of just like programmed to be like, oh, well, I go to the beach and I only care about this or this and that. It's all very materialistic, and Hollywood perpetuates this kind of materialistic kind of, plastic culture that people get caught up into. And because of that, man, morality and virtue go out the window. It's not something people care about over here. We have so much, California has the perfect weather. We have beaches. We have Hollywood. And I don't like Hollywood, but we do have it, and it's right there. But you know what I mean? I used to spend a lot of time there before I was like truly saved. I used to live there, man. And I used to kind of hang out with the wrong crowd, if you know what I mean. So, I know what it's like in Hollywood. It's so People are so fake, man. I mean, I'm sorry, but it's true. People are so fake in Hollywood and in the big city of LA. Oh man, don't trust anybody in LA, man. People are such backstabbers over there. It's just you wouldn't believe it. It's really just there's no integrity over there, man. I mean, it's very rare you find someone you can trust over there. So anyway, the margin for error for each state ranged from plus or minus 3 percentage points for most states to plus or minus 6 percentage points for the smallest states. When taking this uncertainty due to sampling into account, the 3 states where liberals outnumbered conservatives in 8 additional states, New York, California, Rhode Island, New Jersey, Maryland, Washington, Connecticut, and Delaware, can be considered a statistical tie. The 3 most conservative states, in order from most conservative, were Mississippi, Alabama, and Wyoming. In those states, the conservative advantage is respectively 36, 31.2, and 28.8 percentage points. The states with the highest percentage of self-identified moderates were Delaware, 43.9%, Rhode Island, 41.2%, and North Dakota, 40.8%. The regional trend mirrors the electoral map. The most conservative states are mostly in the south and western mountain states. You see what I mean? The places where the most nature is, the places where you can go and get in tune with nature and with God, are the places that are still conservative. When you live in a place like a big city, you're being, when you live in Madison Avenue over there in New York, when they're bombarding you with propaganda where you need to buy cosmetics to make you this glamorous and beautiful. The world tries to sell you things that you don't need. They try to make you believe that you need, though, so that they make you more happier and effective or whatever it is. Our economy is now based on consumerism. It's not based on, you know what I mean? It's not free market economics, if you know what that is. It's not based on, you know what I mean? The old founding principles of what economics should be. The way that it works, because I can't go into economics. It's really a lot of stuff you need to put into, you know what I mean, to try to consider and make clear to everybody when it comes to GDP and all kinds of other stuff and equilibrium and whatnot. The economy does its job all by itself. It's almost a miracle. But nowadays you know what I mean? It's all about consumerism. The economy is based off of people buying stuff, and it's really just a kind of like, it's a trap. It's really a trap. So the places with the most nature are obviously the most godly people, because they don't buy into all of the Hollywood nonsense that they tell you need. So the most liberal states are mostly in the northeast and west coast, where we worship Tupac and Biggie over here. Like, it's all about Tupac, Biggie, criminals, people who gangbang, people who have no respect for authority. That's the kind of people we admire here on the west coast. Nationally, self-identified liberals have gained numbers in recent years and were at a record high in 2014, but still trail self-identified conservatives by a large margin. In 2014, the nation was 38% conservative, 34% moderate, and 24% liberal. In a blog post, Frank Newport, editor-in-chief at Gallup, pointed out that ideological self-identification will not reveal possible regional differences. A Mountain West conservative might typically have differences with a Southern conservative, for instance. Yeah, I mean, there's so many layers to politics. This overview of the ideology of states is based on self-descriptions using a general conservative to liberal scale, and thus measures how each American sums up his or her ideological bent. There can be significant different divergences in most specific ideological positioning, such as between those who may be conservative or liberal on economic matters, while holding the opposite position on social matters. He wrote, "The data is from all Gallup's daily tracking surveys for 2014, while the sample size varied for each state. The total sample size for all states in D.C. was 177,034. To find out where your states rank, follow this. I'll put the link. But there you go, you guys. Just a little heads up on where the nation's at and how we perceive. I think a lot of times these days people think that they choose their own titles. No. Your ideologies choose what your title is. I've heard people say, I'm a Republican, but in reality, they're Democrats. You know, they believe they're conservative, but they're actually very liberal. So we're living in a time where you think you can title yourself, but really, no. It has to do with what fruit you produce. You shall know a tree by its fruit. So God bless you guys.